Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194, and I appreciate you taking the time to visit and check out my video. And I'm gonna try to do something here. Hopefully it will work good, and hopefully everybody enjoy the video. Of course, I'll make it as quick as I can. Your feedback would be much appreciated if you don't like this, or if you would like to see something more with it. I've had a couple requests on the 2018 Porsche GT3R. Some people wanting to know basically as far as driving tips and just about the car, how to get the best, the maximum out of it, and all those kinds of things. So what we're going to go over here is I did a race, as you can see here. I did a race, I did a practice, then I did a qualifying, and then I did the 1 hour race with the AI. AI is 100, aggression's 100. So I did that here at MONZA. Now, of course, I did it per the rules of, like if you were doing career mode or something like that. I did it in the most strict rules. And what I mean by that is, of course, you're not allowed to fuel. So that means you got to carry a full load of fuel because you cannot get any fuel. And so for an hour race, you have to fill the tank. And also limited amount of tires. So again, if you really want to play ACC and really get the most of it, I'm not saying you have to, but obviously, but I'm just saying to really, if you want to have the highest challenge, do that. And of course, the weather is the X factor. You can put that on, real weather, and basically you never know what you're going to get. And that will really, really put the difficulty up, and really in the long run make you a better driver. And how to adjust and how to do all these things. So you really, again, in the long run, it really will help. Now me, I just put the weather at a normal thing here with the degree, with 24 degrees. So it wasn't that crazy a temperature or anything, just in the middle. But again, I did have limited tires. So I only had 5 sets of tires to do practice, qualifying, and the race. So you had to have 2 sets of tires for the race because you got to come in 30 minutes and switch drivers and then do the other 30 minutes. So you got to have 2 sets of tires there. So that leaves you 3 sets of tires to do free practice and qualifying. So you don't have any to waste. So again, I'm going to show you some highlights of the race. Probably, not a ton of it, but just some of the highlights. Go over some of the things with the car as far as how it is in the beginning of the race, how it is later on in the race, as far as the feeling. Also, for everybody, for just a FYI for everybody, what I had to do compared to the other Porsches, compared to the 991.2 and the 992 Porsche. Now, compared to those, I had to get the feel that I wanted out of my wheelbase, and I have an ACC Invicta wheelbase. Okay, so it's got 27 Newton meters of torque. I had to max it out compared to only running about 18 Newton meters, 19 Newton meters, for the other Porsches. So for some reason with the new Porsche, it doesn't have the force feedback as much as I like. So basically I maxed it out. And it felt okay then. It felt good. So again, you might want to consider that adjustment on your base, that between that and the newer Porsches, there is a difference there as far as the feeling of the car. I got that. I'm sure everybody else have noticed that too. But other than that, like I said, we're going to go over the setup. I'll show you that. And, of course, I'll leave a link in the setup in the description. And, of course, some particulars about setting the car up and what it does, what it doesn't do, what it does well, what it doesn't do well. So, again, we're going to go over, I'm going to try to really cover A to Z as much as I can. But, again, if I leave something out, something y'all think about, feel free to ask me a question and I will get back to you. And of course, if you would like to see a shorter race, or not a shorter race, but a shorter track race, like if you would like to see, something that's on the schedule of like career mode, a Brands Hatch or a Zolder or something, a track that's more middle of the road type instead of a fast track like here, Paul Ricard. Just let me know what y'all would like, and I'll see what I can do. But again, it's a great car to drive. I still enjoy driving this car even after 6 years from when I first got ACC. It's still a fun car to drive if you have it set up right, and you can have some great races. And this race, did not disappoint. So again, I'll show you some highlights, and then we'll go on from there. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and watch the race. Again, we're not gonna watch the whole race. I'm just gonna show you a few things, and then of course we can go over the setup. But again, we'll just talk about some different things. So here we go. Start. And I want to get, again, we got full loads of fuel. This is an hour race. AI is 100, of course. All those, AI integration's 100. I want you, for a couple different reasons, we'll just watch this first lap, and then we'll skip towards the end of the race. But definitely with the 2018 Porsche, it does change as you go, because the fuel load comes off. You're not allowed to get fuel if you're doing the official race. So you got to fill the tank, and you cannot get any fuel. When you come in for pit stop, it's just tires. I could have got more cars, but I put for like 24. I thought that was just a decent amount. I thought everybody behaved really good. As you can see, I didn't think it was that bad. Nobody's banging and crashing in Demolition Derby. He's looking to get around me. That's Costa. He's looking to get around me really bad in the Lexus. Now, of course, the setup, which we can go over, when we go over the setup, I'll talk maybe a little bit more about it. But the Porsche, the 2018 is one of the most difficult cars to really find a decent balance, because the car does change as the fuel load comes off the front, because the car is going to lift up in the front a lot. So it does change. So you're trying to find a happy medium. So it might be a little oversteering in the beginning, and then by the end of the race, you're understeering. So you're really just trying to balance that. And in the middle somewhere, you're good. So that's really what you're trying to do. At least that's what I was trying to do. So the car, you can still race the car. But if you just concentrate, the car does change pretty much more than any other car. So again, Costa got a good run on me with the Lexus. Tires are still coming up. And of course, Lexus power. I mean, there's no doubt you're not gonna beat him straight away for straight away. It's just not gonna happen. Not with pretty much almost any car. So he goes around me. I don't fight. Again, I don't fight. It's not worth it. Just get behind him and follow along. So I dropped back to 9th. That's where I started from anyway. So again, no issue. Again, you get an hour race. Also, it depends on what your race is. If in your career mode or single player championship, if you want to do half hour or whatever, just take that into consideration. It doesn't change. The least you go, the least it'll change as far as the balance of the car. Okay, and what I mean by that is at the end of the race, you're really turning the wheel more and more to get the same reaction, and that's just because the car in the front is lifting up, and you're going to get more air under it and more understeer. So again, you can see I'm about midfield, little bit higher than midfield. Didn't have the greatest at qualifying, but that's okay. Again, I'm still just kind of was messing with the setup, trying to get it to improve a little bit and go over the bumps and do everything I want. I wanted it to race well. Okay, that's what I was really qualifying is, you know, whatever. I just wanted basically to race really well. So of course I do the pit stop. I went a little longer than normal in the pit stop, and about another lap or so past the halfway point. And that's another good thing to always think about that if you're doing a long race, because you're really going to need those tires by the end, because it's gonna wear on them a little bit more than normal. So basically, like I said, I came into the pits, come in, and of course this is my Grillo. I got this off a Race Department. I really love, one of my favorite cars. I have the model of this car, well, both of them actually. Of course, Manti Racing, the Grillo, and so I just like doing this one. I do the 2018 races. Of course, the other car is out here also, the other Manti Racing car. They're down near the bottom though. They're, again, you know, a little struggling a little bit here at Monza, which I didn't say struggle. I just wasn't, you know, I was just not, you know, killing it, but I thought it did okay. It held its own. So when I come back out, you see the Bentley go by. So I'm not too far behind the Bentley. Of course, I got cold tires. You see the Ferrari coming. I was able to stay in front of him. And then we had the an Audi, I think, come out also. But you see I dropped down, but again, we're going to come back up. So we're going to move ahead. And you can see where I caught these guys. So I got to back up a little bit. You see that I've gotten at the pit stop, I got back ahead of the Lexus. And you can see those guys are battling. The Audi came out right behind the Bentley. And just stick with me. There is a method to my madness here. Of course, you see now that I am up to 6th place. I got Tandy. I like Nick Tandy. I'm a big fan of his, so I just picked him as my other driver. So that's why it says Tandy there. But I just think he's an awesome Porsche driver. So that, and of course Matt Campbell. But anyway, like I said, those are battling. Of course, they were battling some, and that was allowing me to catch up. Plus, I was running some of my best laps. And you see where I'm catching all the time. And some of it's because they're battling. And of course, that's in any racing. When you start battling with somebody, you always got to be able to look in your mirror, because you could be you're losing a bunch of time, and somebody behind you could be rapidly catching you up. So that's what they were doing at times. They would battle a little bit, and then I would catch up, and then, you know, a little bit, and then they would follow the leader a little bit. So, I mean, again, I know it's not perfect, but I thought it was really good. I don't really, for AI racing, and a game that's this, you know, 5 years old or 6 years old, I really don't think it's that. I thought it was pretty good. I really did. That's just my opinion. Nothing's perfect, but for an AI thing, I thought it was really good. I know they have adaptive racing in a MotoGP 24, but I know a lot of guys that said that's really not working good yet. They haven't got it dialed in, and it's just not working good. So really, for something that not, you know, AI or anything, or some kind of adaptive thing, I really think it was pretty good. No wrecks in turn one, good battles. So really not that bad. Now you can see, dang it, I think it popped up. You see my best lap is a 148.79, and that's race pace, and that's not drafting either. So again, for me, that's a pretty good time for the 2018 car, especially if you consider it's race pace and without drafting. And again, just, you know, you're making adjustments to the car and making it faster. So again, now I'm catching up. We'll skip ahead. And again, I'm just following along. I'm drafting. I'm getting some speed, staying with them. And remember that word drafting, because you're going to see at the end what you got to be concerned about. So again, I'm not, I look a little bit here or there, but I'm really not gonna do anything unless they bang into each other or something. I'm in 5th place. I'm really happy because I've moved up from 9th to a 5th, and possibly can move up farther. So I'm happy about that. So let's skip to the next lap. See, drafting, it's 175 drafting, so it can still draft plenty. Okay, now this is critical here. So this is one of those things, you see where we're at. You see the Honda here. Now before this, he was flashing his lights. The Bentley was actually flashing his lights at the Honda, letting them know. But I guess the Honda just slowed down right here in a bad spot. Again, people make mistakes just like AI does. And you'll see what happens. And basically you see he got around him, but the Audi took the wrong turn. So the Audi now is right behind the Honda. So that's, he probably just all of a sudden realizes how slow he's going. So basically I just kind of used him as a pick. I did bump him a little bit, but I jumped back around him and took off. So again, it didn't cause hardly any damage, not even a second. But the thing is, the Bentley got away. The Bentley was, a couple seconds. Now the Bentley's, able to try to start getting away. And now the Lexus and the Audi are fighting back there. And so that's the way it'll go for the next couple laps. Now we've closed up a little bit. I've made up a little bit of ground, but it's not, I can't get up to where I can really start drafting. And as you tell, the Audi is climbing back to me. So again, the deal with, I know they drop back sometimes. Well, he didn't drop back. He's coming back at me again. And I'm trying to keep him at bay, but my tires now are really getting bad in the front as far as the understeer. It's starting to get a little bit, I put him in more brake bias, which that's another thing you have to do with the 2018 Porsche. You need to start more conservative with the brake bias and tune it that way. So you can, as it gets some understeer, you can put more rear brake in it to get the car to turn. So you're trying to counteract with the front end coming up. Okay, so that's, again, something you need to, if you change things on the setup, you just need to realize that. And you're probably going to do more brake bias adjustments on this car more than anybody else, more than any other car. And also just driver adjustments. You're going to have to turn the wheel, just a little bit more input, a little bit more of this, maybe change your turn in point, things like that. It's just little things you have to adjust with this car to try to keep it as consistent as you can. Again, see, the Audi's right back on me, and I'm going okay. I mean, I don't know what my last lap was. 149.2. So I mean, that's not great, but you only got another lap to go, and the tires are, it's about a half a second. That's not that far off. You can see the car wanting to understeer there. So again, I'm trying to really push hard. I'm trying to keep him behind me, but knowing that he can out-horse me going down the straightaway, and he's got the draft. So I went defensive. I didn't want to, bang into him. We never even touched. But, he just a clean pass. He didn't let me, close him off or anything like that. So again, just a good clean pass, really good by him. So I got behind him. I was hoping, I really I had a decent run because I was all over him, and I thought maybe I could try to get around it, but I couldn't without wrecking. Again, you know, I'm not gonna ruin the whole race and finish last. You know, it's a good race, really fun. So now I've dropped back to 5th, but still, you know, I started 9th, finished, you know, if I can finish here in 5th, it'd be still a decent result, as in my opinion, with the Porsche here at a track that is really not favored for this car. You know, so if you can finish 5th here, you know, you can do better at some of the other tracks that are more, you know, for the Porsche. Okay, so you're gonna see what happens now when you come up. See, I'm behind the Audi. That's it. I got no fuel. And there goes the right at the finish line. The Lexus just missed me. I mean, just missed getting it. You can hear the car just coasting. I'm out of gas. I filled my tank. You can see, look, that's all I had. Less than a car length that I beat for 5th place. And I'm completely out of gas. So, again, drafting makes a difference. It's gonna make your fuel consumption go up. It says 3.60, I think it says there on my fuel consumption. And it wasn't that high when I was doing all my other qualifying and everything else. It was lower than that. So again, you know, if you have to do this, if you do an hour-long race, especially at like a Paul Ricard or here, where you burn a lot of gas, a lot of fuel, you definitely need to keep an eye on the gauge. And if you have to if you have it set up to do a full pace lap, you better really conserve gas. I mean, you better go around in the highest gear you can and get around and be very cautious, because, like I said, you can see I really didn't even have enough because I ran out of gas before I got to the finish. So, and I filled the tank. It was full. So that's why with drafting, you got to keep that in mind if you're running to the maximum of your fuel capacity. So again, but it was a great race. For AI, I thought it was really fun. So let's go over the setup. Got 25.7 left front, 24.7 left rear, 26.5 right front, 25.7 right rear. Actually 25.5 left front, because I had to adjust it in the pit stop. Toes negative 0.05 with the camber at negative 3.8 on the left front, negative 3.6 on the right front, and the caster at 10. Toe on the rear is positive 0.05, plus the camber is negative 3.2 on the left rear, negative 3 on the right rear. Electronics are 3 and 2. I had it full at 120 liters. No graining. Tire wear was, as you can see, I used set 4 and 5 for the race, and you can see how much it wears the rears compared to the front. And see, that's the big negative about the 2018 Porsche compared to the newer ones. Okay, the newer ones, you really have to. It's a lot more equal here. It's still bad compared to other cars, but you can see how much worse it is with the 2018 car. It really wears the rear tires, so you got to keep that in mind when you're doing any kind of setup work with this. 5 on the anti-roll bar. I should have had and I messed that up. It should have been 95 on the brake bias. Brake power. Brake bias is 55. Steering ratio is 15. Springs are 149,000 on the left, 133,000 on the right, with a 500 bump stop rate and a 6 bump stop range on the left and a 12 bump stop range on the right. Springs in the rear, 154,000 on the left rear, 141,000 on the right rear, with a 700 bump stop rate, a 30 bump stop range on the left rear, and 45 on the right rear. Any roll bar is 4, preload is 90. Now, people ask me why I stagger it. I just like the feel of it, because all the fast turns are right-hand turns, and so I want the car to want to turn right, easier. So that's why I do that. And of course, a lot of the left-hand turns are more slower turns. So the first 2 chicanes are slow turns. You do have one faster left-hand turn, but that's not just one turn out of all of these others. So again, that's why I try to do that, to try to help the car turn. It's still very stable under braking. It's still very stable everywhere else. Shocks are 5 and 700 on the front and 0015 on the rear. All dialed in with Motec, and it's really kind of crazy compared to all the other cars, but that's what it does. Aero 63 in the front, 67 in the rear with a 12 wing and a 2 and a 3 in the brake ducts. You can run a 3 and a 3, I guess, because the brakes were getting a little warm, but that's up to you. Again, I'm almost tempted to where you got to run a 14, because you need the grip to compete with the Porsche. You're not going to compete on a straight line speed. You got to compete in braking and cornering and all those kinds of things, and getting the drive off the corners. That's what you're trying to do. The Porsche is not a car that you're just going to blow by people on a straightaway. It's just not going to happen, no matter what you do. And of course, you could take all the swing out of it, and unfortunately with the 2018 car, it's just almost undrivable. You can't. It's just, without the wing, the car is so the way it's balanced, it just doesn't go quick. And if you did, it wouldn't last. You wouldn't, you could go maybe quick, maybe if you're an alien, for a couple laps, and then that'd be it. So with me, more mortal type person, I think a 12 wing is something you should go with at least. Now, you can go down to maybe a 10 if you're qualifying, but anything, you might even want to try a 14 wing like that and do that. But really, other than Paul Ricard and here, I would run the wing max everywhere. It's really just, almost like every other car. I mean, really at any other track, you just max the wing out. It needs all the grip you can get. So, and then tune accordingly. That's this part. And again, I think this is a very good setup for this track. And again, the reason, let's talk a little bit about the setup part. Ride height, the car likes to hit in the front, so that's why I have it jacked up a little bit more than normal. This car really likes to hit. It likes to touch down in the front really easy. So again, without running the springs maxed out, which then causes other problems, I try to I would give it a little bit more ride height, and that way you can also be more aggressive over the curbs. That's the reason why you really don't want to run the car all the way down in the front compared to a lot of other Porsches. Just the way it is. I don't know why, but it just always hits, and sometimes it can really upset the car. So keep that in mind. You might be able to get away with 62. That's probably the lowest you'd be able to get away with without hitting on stuff in the braking zones and everywhere else. Other than that, just making sure I'm thinking of everything. Again, you just got to be cautious with how much bar you put in it in the rear and how much preload. You want to keep it a pretty normal amount. Nothing crazy. And the same with the ride height. Try to keep it, again, in the beginning, maybe a teeny bit oversteery or really, really reactive in the very beginning if you have a long race. And because this is going to come up a bunch in the front, and you'll probably lose a whole point in your front aero variation once you have no fuel in it. So again, I hope this helps with you driving the 2018 Porsche. And again, I might, if you like this video, I might come out, if you would like to see another one with like a shorter track, give me some suggestions so I can do, a shorter track, something, I don't know, a Brands Hatch or a Hungaroring or a Zolder or something, a shorter track, so we can see what, if you want to see what it would do there. against the AI or how you drive it there. But again, with the strong points of the car, again, just a reminder, is not top speed. It is braking, cornering, all those kinds of things. Getting the drive off the corner, acceleration. That's where the strengths of the Porsche is. Really, all of them, but especially the 2018. So that's what you need to concentrate on. Not try to chase the rabbit and try to think you're going to out straight away another car, because that's just not going to happen. So again, I hope this helps with you and you're driving, whether single player, and I hope you can enjoy the Porsche more, because it is a fun car to drive, a lot better than it was in the beginning of ACC. Huge amounts better in my opinion, and of course, obviously, the setups that I do now for the car are again 100 times better than what they were 4 or 5 years ago. So that helps too a little bit. So it's a little combination of everything. So again, hope you give me a like and subscribe. I'll leave a link to this setup down in the description, and of course my Discord link will be down there also, and of course all the setups are free. So again, any comments or feedback or questions, if I missed something, just ask a question and I will get right back with you. And I hope you have a great day and you come back and see me again another time. Take care.